Now let's practice some bootstrapping on this simple data set. It's called sample.csv. We will read it into a data frame. And as you can see here, it is a very simple data set with body, mass index, gender and age. You will see a function called setSeed and then a number inside it. The advantage of using this function is you will obtain always the same resample data set using the same number here. And to clarify setSeed function more, let's have this example here. Any number, you choose any number, but write for example our norm 10 random numbers. So if you don't use the function setSeed, notice that every time you have different random numbers. However, if you use setSeed, it gives you the same output every time. It will be random, but it is reproducible, and this is useful in case in case you need to have the same results every time. And you will notice it during exercises in automated online platform. You will see that they use setSeed function and then ask you a question, a multiple choice question, based on the fact that you will use setSeed and get reproducible result. And if you change this number to another number, it will give you again. So these values here are different from here, but it will remain the same as long as this number is the same. Hope this is clear. If anything is not clear, please write a comment to me. Now we will use any random number. I choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I setSeed, and then I will create an empty list. Why? You will see in a moment. So now I have an empty list that contain no objects yet, and list is a type of data structures in R that will hold any kind of objects, any kind of R objects. It can hold numeric, it can hold character, it can hold data frames, it can hold anything, it can hold any other objects. So I just modified it to be easier to understand or more intuitive. So again, I will go through the lines again. First step is to setSeed and create an empty list. Choose the number of bootstraps, and then create a numeric vector with subject IDs, which will be a sequence from 1 to the number of rows of your data frame, which is my data. And then before running the loop, let's go through the loop. I'm telling R to sample from this numeric vector with replace equal true. I will need 2 arguments here. I will need the X, which will be the subject IDs, and I will need also the number of subjects to be chosen, which is the number of rows of the data frame. So the size will be the number of rows in the data frame, and I'm telling R that replace equal true. Again, you can write true as true or as T. So let's have a look at one sample. So as we see, it selects randomly, and here for example 10 is repeated 3 times and 6 repeated 2 times, 8 repeated 2 times, so it is totally random sample. I can choose again. I have other set of the sample from the same sample. Because replacement is true, one subject can be chosen 2 or more times. And now I am passing this resampling IDs to subset my data frame. So I will put it here, and here is before the comma is the filter for rows, after the comma is the filter for columns. So I will put it here in my data and get the bootstrapped data. So let's have a look at bootstrapped data. So it is a data frame with ID and BMI, gender and age. We can see that 10 is chosen two times, 5 is chosen 2 times, and 1 is chosen 2 times, 3 is chosen 3 times, 9 is chosen 1 time. So these 2 lines will produce a random or resampled data. We will have to store it so that we don't lose it in our loop. We will store it in a list. Where is the list? The list is my list that I created here, and I put these 2 square brackets, and inside I will put I. So in the first loop it will store bootstrap data in the first element in the list. In the second run it will store the bootstrap data, which will be different than the first one, in the second element of the list, and in the third run of the loop it will store bootstrap data in the I or 3 element number 3 in the list. So let's run the loop. Okay, now let's have a look on my list. As we see, 3 data frames appeared, and every data frame is different than the other. All 3 are resampled from the original samples that I have. You might ask yourself, so why have I set seed if the 3 data sets are, or the 3 data frames are different from each other? Well, this is not the function of dataseed. Dataseed does not work here. Dataseed works when I repeat the loop. Okay, if I run my loop now, let's create my list 2 to be able to compare. Okay, so let's compare my list. For example, the first element with my list 2. And also the first element. So we can see that the 2 data frames are identical, but within the list they are different from other data frames. So the advantage of using set seed is to have the same resampling every time. But within the list, if you choose number of bootstraps 10,000, it will give you 10,000 different resampled data frames. But when you repeat it using the same set seed, it will give you the same 10,000 resampled data frames.